Hey, before we get into today's episode, if you're a podcast host or guest, listen up. I've produced over 200 podcast episodes and guested on 50 podcasts just in 2025 alone. And let me tell you, nothing grows your audience or builds trust faster than being in front of the right listeners. That's why I created my podcast tour offer. I'll help you map out your topics, strategize your message, and find you the most aligned podcasts and audiences to get you and your business in front of. So if you've ever thought, I just wish more eyes were on my work, this is your sign. Let's get you on a podcast tour. You can find all the details in the show notes. Just look for podcast tour. Now let's dive into today's episode. One reason I chose podcasting is because it doesn't feel good to me to blast my whole life on social media anymore. When I was in my MLM days with Beachbody, it was part of your tracker that you did every day, that you needed to post on your stories, you know, share your workout, share this, share that. And my kids were little. And so I would share what we were eating or what we were doing or our kids' activity. And that felt fine at the time. They were so little. But now you just get older and you learn and your kids grow up. And now it doesn't feel right to put them on my social media. It doesn't feel right to share where we are and what we're doing. There's weirdos out there. There are weird people out there. And so I feel more protective over that than anything. And podcasting is something that I choose because I still want to run a business. I still want to market myself, but I don't want to have to blast all of that. I don't want to have to blast life, my kids, and everything all day, every day, just to have people be able to connect. I want to connect with people, but I also feel this like need to have that boundary of safety in what you share. And that's okay, but podcasting can give you that. If you want to be visible without some of those pieces and without sharing those things, that's one, totally valid. And podcasting can be a way to do that. So if I was you and I wanted to be more visible this week, I would start with these three things. First off, and I'm not going to count this as one, there's a whole episode on this, but have your niche speaking topics within your business. What are your 2 to 3 speaking topics? And you can go listen to that episode on how to pull those out, how to make them sound like a podcast episode title so that they're really easy for a host to say yes or no and get you booked. I'm not counting that, but you got to have that first. Don't do anything else if you don't know what you're going to talk about, because then your efforts in the podcasting space are going to fall a little flat and you're not going to see the business growth, the networking growth that you want, the visibility that you want without doing that first. So go do that. Okay, the first thing I would start doing is connecting with podcasters. It has become really easy on Threads to go find people with podcasts. The new feature that you can have your podcast linked right in your profile, it's so easy. You can search podcast threads. You know, there's those whole blue thing. I don't even know. Are they called communities? Whatever. You don't even need to know. I don't know what they are. Go search those things. Go start connecting with podcasters. Threads is such an easy place to do it because of the tools that they have set up over there within the profiles. What I like to do is click on that podcast link that they have, and it'll take you to usually Spotify or Apple, and I'll click follow so that it's just in my show list and I can go back to it and I can find an episode that strikes my interest. I can listen to it. But that's the group of people that I would start connecting with. Second thing I would do to get more visible each week, send 3 podcast pitches. There's an episode on this too, or go get in my free podcast matchmaking community because I have a whole training on this and a script you can use for pitching that is human first. Humanness is key. Being genuine and showing that you've done your homework and listened to their show. And then here's your speaking topics, because those are the value you're going to bring to the podcast. And that's important. So again, go figure that out with that episode or get in that community. The link is in the show notes. But I would send 3 pitches per week. This, if you do it how I say to do it in a DM, keep it quick, keep it human, keep it genuine. This is going to take you like 10 minutes, literally, for the week. But what this could compound into could be massive. One podcast interview that's very aligned, where the audience is already looking for you and it really matches, is going to be huge for your business. Whether you see immediate changes or an influx of followers or people downloading your lead magnet or not, just know that people are watching. There's lurkers, there's people that aren't going to like anything of yours and then one day sign up with you. I've had clients say that someone found them a year-old podcast episode they've done. So there's just so much working for you in the background, the backlinks, the SEO, that your episode can be found when someone's Googling and searching for you. It's just going to make things easier. So that action alone of sending 3 pitches for the whole week, super tiny action that you can take that's going to really compound over time. And then the third thing, post your speaking topics on Threads. Don't post, hey, I just want to speak on podcasts this year. Like, who's got a podcast? Change that to, here's 3 topics that I can bring a lot of value with. Tag a podcast host in the comments if you think they'd be a good fit, or let me know if these would be a good fit. I'm looking to speak on podcasts. Start posting that once a week. You can just post as much as you want on Threads because there's really no rhyme or reason over there. And posting 6 times a day is completely acceptable. If you do that, again, on tiny, small action once a week, your algorithm on Threads is going to start changing. You're going to start having people comment or tag someone. And if you keep those speaking topics clear and specific to what it is you do in your business and who you serve and help and what your offers are, you're going to start to become top of mind. When you speak on podcasts and you stick within those topics, you're going to open up Threads like I do every day now after speaking on 50 podcasts last year. Every time I open Threads each day, someone tagged me for something to do with podcast guesting. I am tagged, no joke, every time by those podcast hosts that I was on, by people that listen to the shows, by people I don't even know, because they know that my speaking topics are around podcast guesting, and I share it on Threads and I speak on podcasts about it and I stick to that niche. Those are the 3 things I would do to get more visible. And that's why I choose podcasting, because it doesn't require me to share pictures or share my location or share what I've been doing. I don't want that out on the internet. I don't want to share all that. So if you feel the same way where you don't want to share that, or maybe you grew up in an MLM, I mean your entrepreneurial life maybe started there where mine did. That was my first bug in entrepreneurship. And I learned so much, but I also learned that as when this airs, a 39-year-old woman now, I don't want to be sharing all of that. And so podcasting can do that for you. It can grow your business. Whether you have your own podcast or you want to just go speak on other people's podcasts, you don't need to start your own podcast if you don't have the space for that. You absolutely can speak on podcasts without having your own to swap. So I would go do those 3 things. Connect with podcasters, send 3 pitches each week, post your topics on Threads each week. Boom, done. Get more visible. Tag me if you do this. Hey, before you go, if you've ever wished podcast guesting or hosting felt a little easier, you're going to love this. I started a free podcast matchmaking community where hosts and guests can actually connect, swap shows, and find aligned conversations without all the cold pitching and chaos. It's totally free, it's super fun, and it's growing every day. So whether you're looking to grow your audience, get in front of the right people, or just finally get your message out there, come join us. You can find the link in the show notes to join the community.